Now we're live every place. All right.
You get good at all this, huh?
What a great place to stop to join me at 360's Performance Talk at KUHSdenver.com when you listen to Tito Puente. Oye, como ya? See? Okay, that's about as far as I'm going to go with my Spanish today. But I'm here with one of my friends, and just a champion all around. And he's going to be a champion again in anything he does. But hopefully, one key thing's coming up for Josh Cuddly Bear Copeland is on New Year's Eve this year out in New York City. We're going to be talking about that event. We're going to talk about the PFL. We're going to talk about mindset and mental toughness and resiliency and all those great things that make up the world of a true champion. Because, there are champions and there's true champions. And we're going to distinguish that as well. But before I get into that and we start talking to Josh, my bud here, we're going to talk a little bit about what's going on in other parts of the world. I'm going to show you that, people. Look at that, purple. Get it?
Careful which finger you hold.
Exactly. It's kind of deceptive, isn't it? It could fool you. So the purple fingernail
brings out your eyes.
Yeah, it's a power color. Whoopi Goldberg, she talks about purple in the movie. It's an awareness color brought to bear by some of the things that she's done as an entertainer. But at the same time, it's significant now because there's a promo out called "Put the Nail in It," and it's the "Put the Nail in It" campaign against domestic violence, and literally putting the nail in it so that you represent. And one of the things that I'm supporting in addition to this program is the awareness, being aware of who you are and what you're doing in your world, and making sure that you pay attention to your surroundings. So as men, let's pay attention to what we teach our kids, both our daughters and our sons, and so that they understand what's the right thing to do. And this is a way to represent that in putting a nail in it. And maybe by the end of the show, I get somebody else putting a nail in it. But, it's a masculine-feminine conflict. I don't wear nail polish. This is the first time I've ever done this. Now, I have to admit, I've painted my daughter's nails when she was small, but that's as close as I came to it. Do I appreciate the cosmetic impact it has on women that I know, in particular my wife and daughter? Well, of course I do.
Absolutely.
Exactly. But that's as far as I've gone. But this is important to me. It touches me personally. It has, and in my family, and that's about as much details I'll give you on that. So it's really important for me to support those who have suffered as a result of domestic violence. Now, that being said, I also have to mention, as was pointed out to me this morning, it's not just a woman thing. And we talked about that here before. It's about human beings being kind to each other. So there are men out there that have been sexually abused or domestically abused, both verbally and physically. So let's not forget that it's not just a one-sided sword. It's a sword that has two edges, and we need to be aware of both of them. But the one that's most critical is for women and domestic violence and the impact on women. So, put a nail in it. All right, so moving on. World Series, here we go. World Series Game 3 coming up in L.A. What's the big difference in Game 3 versus Games 1 and 2? Well, L.A. didn't win any of them. And the other thing, it's going to be about 35 degrees hotter in L.A. So close to 80 versus close to 40 compared to Boston. So that's one big thing. 35 degrees difference in the temperature. The Dodgers are definitely down 0-2. Couple of points I want to make. J.D. Martinez, in running an extra base hit, slipped on second base as he came around and kind of damaged his ankle a little bit. So he was questionable for a while, but he will be, instead of in the infield, J.D. will be in the outfield and playing right field as it stands today. You've got some key things going on in their lineup with Boston. One of them is J.D., whether he was going to play or not. The other one is the pitching. Rick Porcello is the starting pitcher. For me, that's probably a good choice as a coach. And look, I don't want to be the person that steps in and tries to second guess a coach or general manager. But when you look at the facts about where Pacello has been and what he's done, in Game 3, probably a good place to put him because you're 2 games up. And I'm trying to be very careful not to say anything disparaging about Rick and his efforts on the mound. He's a champion and he's in the World Series, so that goes a long way in substantiating where he's at. Now, what's more important to me is what the Dodgers are doing. And the Dodgers have adding Jock Peterson as a leadoff hitter and moving Chris Taylor down to the number 7 hitter. Now, that's not unfamiliar to Chris. In fact, management for the Dodgers have used that very successfully in the past because Taylor is an impact hitter. He can hit the long ball. He gets on base. His on base percentage is very strong. That's huge. So the focus for me is on Chris Taylor as well as on Walker Buehler. Now, there's a pick for pitching. Walker Buehler has some outstanding postseason stats. The guy knows how to work his counts just like a hitter would. A pitcher's working his counts and what pitches he throws at what time so that he's maximizing his effectiveness on the mound. And Walker Buehler is one of the best at doing that. So with that being said, I want you to take a look at the eyes, the focus on the eyes. I'm going to ask Big Josh here about that too, about focus and your attitude towards the plate. In Game 7, the Dodgers against Milwaukee had to win that game, just like Milwaukee had to win that game to go on to the World Series. But when they took shots of the faces of the LA Dodgers and you looked at their eyes, you saw this intensity, this game face that was on. I mean, it literally was a game face that you could identify was intense. And Chris Taylor was one of those who was very intense with his look, as was people like, interestingly enough, Yasiel Puig. You know, he's kind of an interesting guy. Who in baseball licks their bat? He does. He has a very personal relationship with his bat, right? But his facial expressions and his connection to the game on that day in Game 7 was right there with Chris Taylor and the rest of the LA Dodgers. Look for that in Game 3 tonight. And that's about all I got to say about baseball today. It's going to be a good time. It's 8:09 Eastern Time or 6:09. How did I pick 6:09? What's the 09 for? It's a television thing. It's on Fox Sports tonight. YouTube TV is also got it hooked in with the World Series Game 3. Right in Colorado, 6:09. On the West Coast, 5:09. And obviously, East Coast television program people, it's 8:09. So tune in for Game 3 and look for the focus. Look for the mental toughness that represents that focus. All right, NFL got some changes. These are some crazy changes going on here. For those of you who follow NFL football, here's something for Denver fans. Be aware on December 15th, little ways out, but the NFL's putting out there on NFL Network. The game is an 8:20 p.m. game against Cleveland. It's a home game for Denver on the 15th, but that's kind of interesting. And it's Saturday. It's not a Sunday game or a Thursday game or a Monday game. It's a Saturday game on December 15th. Then the rest of the lineup on Sunday is there, as well as an interesting game, the LA Chargers and Kansas City on the 13th. So that's a little bit advanced schedule, but that time change is very interesting. So the NFL is doing some very interesting, and perhaps to some of us some crazy stuff. They're doing it again during the holiday week of December 22nd with, again, a Saturday game. Washington versus Tennessee and Baltimore at the LA Chargers are both Saturday times, similar to the Denver game. So, very interesting stuff going on. All right. So, Josh, here we are.
Here we are.
KUHSdenver.com. And we're going to talk a little bit about, I mean, it's obvious, right? You did the deal. You're one of the 8. But the story was, it wasn't a lock. You had to wait till the last fight of the season to know if your points got you in.
Exactly.
And you got in.
Yeah.
And the first fight, we're going to summarize this really quickly. The first fight would be a traditional fight for you. I mean, it's going, if both fighters are doing their thing, strategizing, taking their shots. I think both of you were getting in what you needed to get in and doing what you needed to do. So take me through that a little bit from your perspective. as strategy when you're going through that fight? You know you've got another one if you win that one after that right away. But I'm guessing that didn't come into your mind when you fight.
Yeah, definitely got to win the first one. So I'll say the way, due to the commissions, you're only allowed five rounds per fighter a night. So with them wanting to do this, the 8-man tournament, of course you can't do the 3 fights in one night because of that, but they were able to do the semifinals and quarterfinals the same night. And with that being said, the first fight was a 2-rounder, the second fight was a 3-rounder.
Mm-hmm.
So the way they scored the first fight, it was huge. It's if it, since there's only 2 rounds, if it winds up being a draw, they go back and say whoever won the first round is the winner.
Yeah.
So the emphasis for me on that fight was come out, be aggressive. Whatever happens, win the first round.
Mm-hmm.
Because the second round, now it's up to him to finish. To do that. So yeah, that's what was nice. Even I saw the last, it was like a minute 35 seconds or so. In the second round, he held me up against the cage, and I just sat there and held him. And I told my wrestling coach, I'm like, man, I could get off, but I also knew if the only way he's going to win is if he flips me. And sitting in that close, there's no way.
Yeah. And the announcers kind of made comments to that about your strategy. It was very obvious that your strategy was that. But did that mean also in the first round, when you sat between the 2 rounds, did you kind of have an idea that you had the first round? You'd won the first round? You felt good about that?
Yeah, I was a good 99% sure. The octagon control, me pushing the tempo, coming forward. First round, I held him up against the cage way more than he did. Just positionally, damage. I was throwing more of the damage shots.
Well, and I noticed that there was a little bit more offensive effort on your part when you are typically known as a counterpuncher. That's one of your strengths. You're good at it. But I saw some offensive initiation on your part, to your point about being aggressive early, get that first round under your belt. Did you make any changes in your training to give you a better chance of being offensive? Like I noticed they mentioned your footwork was better.
It's funny. I started working with my old kickboxing coach, Brian Youngs.
Mm-hmm.
And after the Sean Jordan fight, I remember going to him. I'm like, man, I don't understand. It's been forever since I've had a knockout and whatnot. And Brian Youngs just told me, he's like, Josh, it's because you're being lazy with your legs.
Oh.
And I'm standing straight tall with my legs, not bending them. And he's all you're doing is getting the rotation of your core and the extension of your arm. He's like, you gotta bend those legs and use the drive from your legs too. And sure enough, I went out there and the few weeks leading up to it, I really tried to start staggering lower. Try to be more of a full.
Well, the practice became habit because you didn't lose that impact in the second match. I mean, you stayed strong with not only your footwork, but the leg bend. You were, as I say to all of my athletes, ready to be ready.
Yeah.
And in those sports like basketball, boxing, soccer, you got to get a good stance, good fighter stance. And that was definitely showing. So we are in our segment where we talk about the mindset and how you get your mindset prepared. So I want to expand that a little bit on your thoughts about, there's mental toughness, that's a buzz phrase, and there's resilience. I'm going to ask you a tough question. Make a choice. Which one do you prepare for most often? Setting your mind up or about being resilient and the comeback? Because you're a counterpuncher, so I'm just thinking you might be predisposed to be more focused on being resilient, ways to recover quickly, versus the other one, which is stalwart, strong, focused at all times. Which one would you pick?
That's a tough one.
Yeah.
You need both, that's for sure.
Yeah.
I don't know. The power of the mind is something that I don't even think any of us can even understand yet. So I definitely say that the mental toughness, I'd take that for sure.
Yeah, and it's interesting you say that because I didn't want to predict, but I wanted to put you in that place to try to make a choice. And you're right. In my world of training, the mind, it's a simultaneous thing, and one comes up before another based on circumstance.
Right.
So when you practice, when you're preparing, do we prepare with that reality in mind? So do I put myself in a drill situation or a sparring situation that pushes me with both?
Right.
Where, okay, he slipped me one. He got me in there with a practice punch because I wanted him to. How do I respond to that? How do I recover from that? And then from there, it's the mental toughness to get yourself back into that place.
Yeah.
To find your footwork, find your counter punch, whatever that is, in seconds.
Yes.
And then it could be the other side. You're just getting into the ring. Maybe you're just walking to the octagon and getting ready. That's the mental toughness part. So I'm going to ask you about not so much the ring, but the influence of what's happening outside the ring up to this next fight. This is the first time you've been here. This is new territory for you. So how has the promotional pieces that what PFL's asking you to do and I've asked you to do, I mean, you've got more attention, deservedly so. But what kind of changes and challenges is that presenting for you?
It's like you said, it's all pretty brand new to me. I know right after I won, PFL told me, hey, our next event's in Long Beach. We need you there to do PR stuff.
Yeah.
We'll come out, meet and greet, do all that. And then same thing, hey, next event's in Washington, D.C. Need you there. I've already done a bunch of interviews. And yeah, it's just funny how, I don't know, like right now everything's pretty time consuming.
Yeah.
Just here or there, and I try to just make it work with my schedule.
So I'm going to guess that the training schedule takes priority.
For sure.
And I'm guessing you're not fully back into it yet because you've got a little bit of time. But are you going to get into your more routine schedule here very quickly to stay strong for the next 2.5 months?
So I'm already pretty much going to all the practices. Right now I'm just tech sparring, just touching, moving around. And we're to me it goes with the saying, if you don't get out of shape, you don't have to get into shape.
No, exactly.
So for me, it's, hey, I got the biggest fight of my life coming up in, what was that, 10 weeks?
Yeah.
Around 9.5 or so.
Yeah.
Yeah, and let's stay active. Let's keep moving that way. It's time to go.
So when you did that little promotional junket to the West Coast and one went back to Washington, D.C., what do you do in between the calls to go on mic? You doing some running, or obviously I'm going to guess you're eating the same and you're trying to stay nutritionally sound.
Yeah.
Are there any challenges with maintaining that with that busy schedule?
Are you talking while I'm traveling?
Yeah, while you're traveling.
Yeah. So I've got on a routine where I'm trying to do 100 squats a day, just air squats, body weighted. Just try to go continuously, trying to get 100 push-ups, get my core going every day, just doing a little something just to keep the body moving, and then simple shadow boxing.
Yeah.
It's amazing how, what you can do just without having a person there or having a bag to hit. It's amazing how much you can still train your mind to get a phenomenal workout in.
Well, and the world of health and wellness has taught us that you could go to the grocery store and get cans of peas and use them as your weight training. It doesn't have to be expensive to get a good workout, or does it have to be a lot of time? Just to get the heart rate up, start doing what you need to do to make it happen. So it sounds like you're getting it fit you're in, whether it's a hotel room or, you're walking to a gig to do some talking, you're staying focused with that, and now you're getting back into the more routine aspects of the training program. When do you think you're going to start to do the more intense workouts where you're actually getting in the ring and sparring with partners and getting skills? Because you've got an interesting opponent.
Yeah.
Nicholson's he's legit.
No, Lens.
Or Lens. What, I had the wrong guy up there?
Nichols.
Oh, that was
the
it.
one that I
That's the one you knocked out. Yeah. Okay, Lens. Yeah.
No, so I've got a little vacation plan.
Okay.
Going to Costa Rica.
Nice.
November 2nd through the 8th. And then I want to say when I get back on the 8th, I think it was 7 weeks and 4 days, 7 weeks, 3 days.
Yeah.
So basically, I'll have pretty much 7 weeks in my paper week. So it'll be perfect. That's when I'll tighten up everything.
Nice.
And get ready to rock and roll.
Well, and with that, I'm going to pause just a minute and talk a little bit about some of the folks that support us and the things that they can offer us. But also pointing out that, look, you get in the ring, it's fighting. It's just two components going at each other. And one might think, well, it's not a lot. What's kind of thinking is involved in that? The fact that you just mentioned that planning process, that the fit of the time frame to get the things in you need, that's calculated. That's
right.
Statistics, a tactic, a strategy. So I think you might think that fighting is it's rough and tough in it, but it's simple in its movement and its process. But to get there, it's rather complicated. To get the body where it needs to be, the mind and the body connected, those are all good things. So in my effort to do that here at KUHS and 360 Performance Talk, we've got a couple of folks that help us out. We're looking at our germ block, the antiseptic, germicide. Good stuff here. Got to make sure we take a look at that. You can get that at abcare.com. It's germ block. It's alcohol free. That's the point. That's why I like this, because it's not going to hurt the environment. It's a green footprint as you can get with a germicide. And it feels like a lotion. It's good stuff. The other one, and it's interesting, I looked at Josh's scar above his right eye. He got a pretty good ding in his eye, and we're going to talk a little bit about that impact in the fight game with PFL and the lead that they've got and what that means to that. But we've got Empower body care products. You can get this at empowerbodycare.com and try their slogan. Put it where it hurts. It's CBD based. You can get it online, and I'm going to give you a little bit of an insight here. If you use LW010, that's a discount code from me to you, to help you get started on using stuff that helps the aches and pains, whether they're big aches and pains like this guy's got or little aches and pains. The CBD product has a wonderful healing process to it, helps to minimize the discomfort, take care of little cosmetic things and reducing the inflammation. In place there's an inflammation. My sister used it on a mosquito bite, and it worked. So reduce the itch, irritation was gone. That's an inflammation. So any place you have an inflammation, like bumps and bruises, empowerbodycare.com. And LW010, people, LW010. Okay. So, Josh, when you're home with your son, does he become a barbell?
Right? Pretty much, man.
You press the little guy a little bit?
He loves it. He's all boy. He loves to climb. He loves to fly. I throw him in the air.
Yeah.
He loves everything.
So how old is he now? Is he 5?
He's 5.
Yeah, so is he in school full day?
Yeah, kindergarten.
Nice. So this is the question for moms and dads. When you have your dad is in the business he's in, does he get to watch the fights?
So not he's never been to a live one.
Yeah.
But I showed him
the knockout punch.
Some of the videos and stuff. Yeah, in the past it'd always be like, Dad.
Yeah.
And then toys. Like,
yeah.
Their attention span. And then it was cool this time because I gave him a little shout out when they were interviewing me at the very end.
Yeah.
I fast forwarded to showed him the knockout and then let him listen to when I said his name on air and all that. He was sitting in my lap and then he just laid down on my arm and I'm all, did you hear that? And he's like, yeah.
Yeah.
I said, who was I talking about? He's like, me. And, it was cool.
That's very cool.
And I asked him, did you like that? And he's like, yeah. Because he made mention the other day, he's like, Dad, you're always flying places and you never take me. And I'm like, oh, that hurts.
Yeah,
I'm like, hey,
yeah.
just because I'm going places doesn't mean I'm not thinking about it. So
There you go. That's good connection. That's for moms and dads to remember that. Make the connection, because many times it's not the contact time, it's the quality time. And quality announcements like that, and him giving him a chance to recognize that he got it and connected. That's good stuff. That's a complete circle
yeah.
of the connection. So are they gonna go with you to New York?
I don't know.
Yeah.
I don't. That's still up in the air. Yeah.
Is it scheduling, job schedule kind of stuff that's in the way, or are there other options?
I mean, it's a busy time. So
Yeah.
it's,
Yeah.
it might be one of those things where I just need to go take care of business. Come back.
You take care of that business. You go anywhere you want, son.
Go on a vacation after that.
Yeah. You can lock and load and go anywhere you want after that. That's really cool. Well, on that particular note, that's a family's call. But you can bet that NBC Sports Network is going to give a good look at that on New Year's Eve at the Madison Square Gardens in New York City. So whether he's with you or they're with you or not in person, they're going to be able to have a chance to take a look at what the fight's all about. And thinking about it from a granddad sort of perspective, it's going to be a late night if they're out there, because the heavyweights are at the end, right?
It is, but it'll be daytime fights. That way it's not competing with any parties, ball dropping parties, all that stuff.
Oh,
so
nice. Yeah.
It's not like they're gonna be trying to do this at 11 o'clock at night.
So give the listeners that kind of span. So it is the lighter weights go first.
So I don't know who's gonna go first.
So that's PFL's
I would assume, they're gonna go from light to heavy.
Yeah.
But they might mix us up or whatnot. Because I mean, every fight's going to be for the million. Every fight's the championship. A belt's being handed out. So for me.
But there's only one cuddly bear, Josh. Come on.
There's only one heavyweight.
Yeah, exactly. And there's only one heavyweight who's knocked out his opponent to get to the championship.
Yeah.
So you got some juice here. But on the media side of things, they got to squeeze that juice and make it work.
Right.
So I would hope that you're going to be that crescendo at the end.
Yeah.
To bring it.
We'll see.
And bring, so,
We'll see.
Well, yeah.
But I do know that it'll be during the daytime.
Yeah.
So hopefully we'll be done and out by 4 or 5 o'clock.
Oh, that's sweet.
Hopefully.
Yeah.
Don't quote me on those times, but I know for sure they're not trying to compete with the local people trying to watch it live, and then everyone else who gets together for the
Well, and that's probably a smart move from the broadcasting standpoint, and just safety and event management and all that kind of stuff. So we will give you more information about those details as they come up to us going forward. You've got about 9 weeks of time to wait for that, and so that let's talk a little bit about PFL. Because they're a relatively new model in the business of ultimate fighting.
Yeah.
And I quite honestly, it's got me drawn more into it. Now, I've been an old WFL guy from years ago, Roddy Piper kind of thing, the Hulk, that's my genre.
Right.
So I'm interested in it, but I kind of lost touch with it. Wasn't all that exciting. But this has got my attention. It's a faster pace. It processes well. It keeps you engaged through the league play, watching the points. I think they've got something here. What has been your feedback from fans and your travels out there about that model, and is it working?
Man, I would say 100%. I haven't heard one person, not one negative thing. And that's, to me, to be a part of the PFL and to actually, they're doing a great job of getting our names out there, getting people to know us, this and that. And on top of that, they're paying us.
Yeah.
It's like we chatted about before, it's so nice to make real paychecks.
Yeah.
And actually have money where I'm not living fight to fight to fight. It's, hey, I'm good for a little while if I don't fight. So, it's cool to be a part of a promotion who's actually going to take care of their fighters.
Well, and taking care of them means amounts that you can bank. It's not just living. It's live and then bank something.
Right.
So that you can survive to the next fight or to the next venture, whatever that might be. because I know you and I talked about prior to that the journeys between the different leagues or different endorsement people that whether it's UFC or whatever it is. The bracketing of what they paid you is unbelievable.
That's a slap in the face.
Well, yeah, if they really knew what you went through to get to that place and deliver the kind of performance you delivered, they would be insulted by the amounts they get. So PFL has really taken a good big step towards endearing the athletes to them and drawing them in, and with a quality event. I'm really pleased with what I see with NBC Sports and that play. And the professionals, historical professionals that are kind of wrapping their arms around the PFL. So it's a testament to those who structured it. And PFL's got some good money behind it.
They do.
It's an organization delivered.
It's cool. Even like guys like Kevin Hart, he's one of the financial backers behind it. They're behind it. He loves the model, believes in it. He's been doing the PFL commercials.
Do they give Kevin Hart a booster chair at the arena?
I've never seen them. They're doing that filming in Hollywood or something.
I'll be the one who takes the shot. But I love Kevin Hart. Don't get me wrong.
Seems like a riot.
Yeah, he's doing some great stuff. He's got some game shows on that he's backing. PFL support.
Yeah.
He's got a new movie out. But he is vertically challenged. So it's fun.
The Jumanji movie was epic.
Well,
have you watched it?
Oh, yeah, several times, actually.
Oh, I love it.
Yeah, and with The Rock, he and The Rock have done a couple of movies together, and there's always whether it's ad-lib or scripted, there's always a line in there about height differentials.
Right.
Or strength differentials. Who's the more powerful? And then when they did that in Jumanji and flip-flopped it, that was just...
So...
Yeah. Well, it was a great way for those two guys to play off of it.
Absolutely.
We're a little past the half hour. I want to remind everybody you're listening to KUHSdenver.com. I'm Lowell Whiteman, your host of 360 Performance Talk. I'm here with Josh Cuddly Bear Copeland. Just want to remind you, the tagline is, enjoy the hugs, but beware of the paws.
Love the cuddles.
Exactly. Love the cuddles, beware of the paws. I love that. Now, was that the announcer for PFL that did that?
No, my buddy Justin Wren came up with that.
He's gonna trademark that. Put it on a T-shirt or something. That's epic.
I mean,
that fits. I mean, that little bear thing you've got, that image, and put that at the bottom. That's just so cool. Okay, so say it again for me. Cuddle. What is it?
Love the cuddles.
Yeah.
Fear the paws.
There we go. Love the cuddles. Fear the paws. Danger. I'm a hugger. That's let you know there, people. Okay, so we're having some fun here. Loving what we're doing. You know what? I think I made a mistake. Oh, look. Hi, people. Now that I pushed the right button.
Uh-oh. Was it off?
We got captured. We got so many cameras here, Josh. It's unbelievable. But when it's my own, I screw it up. So welcome, everybody. Josh Cuddly Bear Copeland. Love the cuddles, fear the paws. That's the tagline. So we're at the half hour. I just want to remind everybody about empowerbodycare.com. If you want this, use my discount LW010, and you can buy it online, and they'll send it to you right to your house. Great for any inflammations, bumps and bruises. Take care of that. Now, look, I can only imagine you've gone through a whole just kaleidoscope of emotions since the win. And is that a challenge? I mean, kind of getting it stabilized and focused a little bit? Or has it just been going so fast you haven't been bothered to think
about it? I would say, I don't know that it's been a challenge. It's more of just the surreal aspect of trying to wrap my head around, did that really just happen? I'm not lying. For the first week, even I remember sitting there walking around in Long Beach, and I'm just sitting there looking around. I'm like, holy cow! I just had the feeling for a week straight that I was dreaming and I was going to wake up anytime.
Yeah.
And for me, it's like Boss Rutan and Randy Couture was saying, man, it's a long journey from Josh Copeland's couch, talking just talking about how, like you said earlier, I didn't know if I was going to be in the
Yeah.
playoffs or not. Sitting there with my son, watching it unfold. The fact that it went the distance and went the way that I needed it, I felt just honored and blessed in that regard. And then the fact that I was able to go out and fight, not just fight 2 fights, but win 2 fights in a night with so many different variables that could go wrong. I mean, I was still sitting there just in disbelief, you know?
Yeah. Well, I want to, a lot of times for me, when I have, whether it's a team or a player that's transitioning from one, like the season, to then the playoffs, as a team. Like you've got, the Dodgers from playoffs to now the World Series, and Milwaukee lost, okay? Manage those emotions, but now you've got the Dodgers managing those emotions and shifting from a 7-game series in Milwaukee, and then have to turn around a couple days later and play Boston in Boston.
Right.
It's, how do you get that mindset? Now, I'm only dealing with 1 or 2 players. I don't get to deal with the team, but I could just see in some of the faces that were shown on television with the Dodgers, they were feeling the impact of that emotional transition, and things like environment, the temperature,
Right.
and the adjustments to that, and the fact that game 1 of the series, and we get slammed in that first game, and we make it a little tighter the second game, but you could see the resolve wasn't quite there. So, are you considering things a little differently in your managing those emotions going into training? Because I recommend to my guys, take those feelings from that tough, arduous, physically challenging process and wrap your arms around them, really understand them, and bring them into that training,
Right.
to really, galvanize your resolve. Have you thought about that process at all, going into training, using those emotions, using that dreamlike state,
Right.
to your benefit?
Yeah. I mean, for me, it's the opportunity that I have coming up it's almost like that's my coffee in the morning.
Yeah.
And for me, it's, to be honest, I'm going into this fight with a lot of confidence. And that's, a lot of times I'll doubt myself or different things, and right now, man, I fully believe that I can win this, and it's not gonna, I don't feel like I need to go out there and need a lucky punch
Yeah.
or something. I truly believe that I can beat this guy. And I can put him away, or I can win a 5-round decision.
Yeah. Well, and let me reinforce this. Not that you haven't already thought through it, but in the early stages, the commentators, when they looked at the film in the night, and they're replaying it over and over again, they're asking questions. Oh, how did that was a lucky punch he got in there. That they were dancing around and he did some jabbing and you shifted and then you just threw this punch from wherever it came from. And I'm listening to that language and I'm going, no, watching what's going on there. And the movement around the octagon up to that point, he had countered some of your jabs, and then he threw some shots that didn't connect, and you used those shots. I mean, I could just see the way, and I've watched you enough to kind of be able to pick it apart, that was a counterpunch that you knew you were throwing.
Oh, 100%.
It was not I think I'm going to throw this now, I hope I hit something.
No, that was my bread and butter.
Yeah, and it was a controlled. And you're a long swinger anyway, in many regards, in certain situations like that, the context that was there. But you could just see the control of the pitch of that throw, and your footwork matched it. I mean, you had, as your sparring partner said, you got legs and hips and core in the whole thing.
Right.
I mean, and it was not I think I'm knocked out. It was like, I just got hit and I'm gone.
Right.
I mean, he just boop, the pause and the fall. And there was not a lot of movement when he was on the mat.
To me, he's good because he's aggressive and he's wild.
Yeah.
I mean, the guy really doesn't set stuff up from all his spinning stuff, his flying, jumping knees, this and that. He doesn't set it up. He just randomly throws it. And that's why it works half the time, because most guys are like, you shouldn't do that right now. And it's kind of like the guy that punches out here to punch you in the face. You know, it's like,
Yeah.
why did I look over there? You know, like it shouldn't work, but sometimes it does. But yeah, man, I'm not lying. When it came to Alex, I absolutely love that matchup. He's aggressive and just wild.
Well,
I love for guys to come.
Well, and I know you do, and I'm not going to let this point go. I'm going to keep working on it because the commentators they're going to probably give you more credit going into this next fight about being a calculated fighter. You watch for your opportunities because that's what a counterpuncher does. But at the same time, I think we were amazed and surprised at the offensive intent you had.
Yeah.
That heretofore you hadn't really shown that offensive intent. You were waiting for the other fighter to do something before you responded.
Right.
And so more of a defensive footwork, defensive posturing to set your counterpunches up. So I just saw a more complete Josh Copeland come to the mat. That you always had it. It just now it was actually part of the fight.
Right.
And as you said, it works really well with this crazy flailing kind of guy.
Yeah.
Coming up. So with that being said, let's transition then to the guy that you're going to face on New Year's Eve in New York City at the Madison Square Gardens. What are you looking for with that?
So I'm fighting Felipe Lins, and he's from Brazil. He's been living in Miami for the last year and a half, and he's good, man. He's a jiu-jitsu black belt. Apparently he's one of the instructors down at ATT in Coconut Creek down there.
Mm-hmm.
Which ATT's one of the largest gyms. A lot of talent that comes out of there. And so he's a stud on the ground, and man, he's got good, crisp striking too. So it is to me, it's going to be a great test. It's I don't know. I just love competing. So.
And you're going to train for 5. Yes, you always do. You train for the whole fight.
For sure.
So your 5 rounds of preparation coming up to go against this competitor, Mr. Lins. Felipe has been known to be. I'll use my jujitsu. I'll use more traditional fighter moves standing up to set up my jujitsu to get you into submissions or to get you into holds because he's pretty confident with that. Is that something you're preparing for? Or is that on target with what I've heard, or is there something more?
To me, he has, just from what I've seen, he's not coming from some collegiate wrestling background.
Yeah.
And to be honest, it doesn't matter how good your striking is, if your wrestling's not good enough to keep on the feet, you're done for. Doesn't matter how good your jiu-jitsu is, if the wrestling's not good enough to get it to the ground, you're done for. So, and for me, that's where I feel like I have improved the most is on my wrestling. And not saying he can't take me down, but I'd be surprised if he does, and I better get up pretty quick.
Well, and I think that goes without saying with the art of the fight. You don't want to get yourself on the ground against somebody who's pretty good at that.
For sure.
And if you can get up as quickly as you can. But I notice a body type difference that may play in your favor. As strong and as thick as you are from the waist up, that broadness and that strength in that upper body. Not to say that your legs aren't strong too, but it just seems to match up better against Felipe, who's a little bit more elongated. And I'm not implying he's taller than you. It's just that thickness throughout seems to be maybe not as beneficial to him as having, say, a real thicker upper body to counteract you. Because if you're coming at him offensively, you're going to have a little bit more mass and power on the upper side than what he might have. And not to imply anything about his striking power. He's got good striking power. But it just seems there's just a little bit of physicality benefit that you might have if you're utilizing it in a way that's going to counteract him. What are your thoughts about that?
To me, it's catch-22. There's pros and cons to both.
Yeah.
He'll be a little thinner and longer. I won't say he's 2 inches taller than me, and he's got a 79-inch reach, and I got a 75. So he's got a 4-inch reach on me. So he can touch me when I can't touch him. And so for me, it's you're right. I can be a bull going forward, but you reduce his speed.
Yeah.
Footwork too. So I mean that's what'll be fun. Hopefully it goes in my favor.
Well, I look at whether or not you get the final tally at the end in your favor. The fact that you step in the ring is a huge win. Yeah. That you get a chance to be in that place to compete for $1 million.
Madison Square Garden.
Yeah, I mean,
New Year's Eve.
I mean that's a huge venue, not only for PFL but for you, your career going forward. I feel so blessed to be part of just knowing who you are and what you've done and to see the improvements, man. I mean, it's one thing to have wins and losses, but to see the journey you've taken,
yeah,
and that's really impressive to me. So you mentioned Madison Square Garden. Let's talk about Madison Square Garden. It's an impressive place. I mean, it's like in the heart of the city.
Yeah.
How does environment influence you, or does it?
I would say it does.
Yeah.
That's when I'm walking through that tunnel, about to go out there. It's I'm 100% focused on the fight.
Yeah.
Just I mean, to me, the place, it doesn't matter if I'm fighting at the local bar, in front of a bunch of cowboys or MSG. It's the pressure's still on. It's all about getting that W.
How much time do you have from the time you arrive in New York City until the fight?
I don't know. That's I mean, I'm looking at the calendar, and they usually fly us out to get 5 days before. So I'm sitting there thinking they better not fly us out on Christmas. Hopefully they'll fly us out on the 26th.
Yeah.
Maybe the 27th.
Yeah.
Yeah. They do Christmas.
If you were in charge of it, I understand that not Christmas time, but what would be the ideal amount of time before a fight in this case, this set of context, for you to get out there?
So being in this position, I don't know what type of media and pictures and open workouts and all that stuff they're going to be having us do. So I don't know the extent of that. But I mean, for a normal fight, it's nice to be out there. I'd say at least the day before weigh-ins.
Yeah.
That way you got a day to get your bearings, see where coffee is, and whatnot, and then
coffee's an important thing, Josh.
And then at least get your bearings that day, and then weigh-ins are the next, and then the fights are next. So.
I got to make some comments. Lee Beard, thanks a lot, buddy, for joining in. I wish I would have gotten tuned in sooner. You got some amazing trout you're catching, brother. Lee Beard is a guy that I know from NHRA days, and he is a consummate fisherman.
Oh, nice.
He lives out in Summit County. He's a Colorado boy, but has traveled all over the country, all over the world. And I'm guessing you probably have your fishing rod in your pocket. But he just has some great pictures of his adventures on the waterways of Colorado. So welcome. Thanks for showing up today for us. Reminds me again, we're talking to you at KUHSdenver.com. I'm your host, Lowell Whiteman at 360 Performance Talk. I'm with one of the finest athletes in his sport, but also a good representative of just being a competitor and just processing as a competitor what he knows is the right thing to do to get him to the place where he's the best. And recently, Josh Cuddly Bear Copeland has just gathered in the fruits of that effort and that performance to reward him for all that hard work. And you can't do it alone. I mean, yeah, you're in the ring alone, but a lot of great people brought you there.
Absolutely.
So who's in your corner?
Physically in the
corner.
I had my head coach, which is Ryan Schultz.
Okay.
He owns Trials Mixed Martial Arts in Fort Collins. I'm up there 4 days a week working with him, and then I had my kickboxing coach Brian Youngs, who's he's a stud.
Yeah.
Understands so much about striking, and he's awesome.
The phrase I always loved about striking was, it's not to, it's through.
Oh, I don't know that.
Yeah, because if it's strike two, you don't necessarily have everything of you in it.
Right.
If you strike through, it's what it says.
Yeah.
You strike through. So it's a mindset. Strike through, not to.
Yeah.
So I don't know if you, but that's in my, I used to do some Muay Thai and I've switched to karate because I'm old and crotchety. So I can't do that kicking stuff anymore. I can, but I can't take it on my body as like I used to. So back in the day, I still use that with, whether it's baseball players and hitting, it's strike two is not what you want. You want to start through. Through, not to. But your corner is important to you.
Absolutely.
And is it different? Is your corner different than a boxing corner? Because in a boxing, they have, like, there's the trainer, the boxing skill person, and then there's that person that takes care of you when in between rounds person. What are some of the duties the corner is doing for you?
It's nice being at this level. You got they hire the cutman.
Yeah.
So no matter what, you've got a professional person in the corner stopping cuts like that. But basically, for me, if it's more of a grappling round, I want to hear from my grappling coach.
Yep.
Just an extra set of eyes, because there's a difference in what I'm feeling and what I can see, and then there's that difference of what they can see from the outside perspective.
Yeah.
So it's nice to hear, hear from the striking coach, the things that he sees. Hey, look for this. It's open when you're doing that.
Yeah.
And whatnot. So, but besides that, they're there to, just lift me up and help me.
And they're immediately outside the ring, and have a position with where your stool is at when they open up and get in, the ring. This is a time when I'm gonna do a little promo, but not a promo. It's related to focus and attention to details, because you said this perspective, right? And there's your perspective in the ring, and there's their perspective. In each of those cases, there is a sensitivity of the details, so that you can have good response time in a timely fashion. Well, back a few years ago, with the football team, I was concerned about response time and paying attention to details and being in the moment, staying in the now kind of mindsets. And I designed an app called Time to Focus. It's a free app on iTunes, and basically what it does is it gets your brain going and responsive. So if you go onto iTunes, and I'm playing with my phone here, and you go and you get this. There's a little 30-second thing right there, little 30-second thing. That's the icon, and it's a little bit bigger when it's like that. Okay, and you've got that on there, and that's Time to Focus. So what it does is it gets you to a choice of either 30 or 60 seconds. You can pick how fast you get 30 seconds to find as many numbers as you can.
Yeah.
So when you start it, I'll pick 60 seconds because I'm old and I'm slower.
It takes time.
It takes time, exactly. Time to focus.
Yeah.
So it gives you a number. In this case, it gave me 37 is my first number. Pick 37. So when I push start, I've got to find 37, and then 38, and 39, and 40, and so on, as fast as I can. Get as many numbers as I can. If I get 10 numbers 5 times, I get to go to the next level.
Oh.
Okay? So I got 7 levels here. Now, it looks like a game, it acts like a game, but it's a psychological tool to get the mind clicking.
Right.
Get you ready. It takes you 60 seconds or 30 seconds. I recommend my athletes take 2-3 minutes prior to an event in the locker room just to run through this, get the brain kind of cranking, because it sticks with you. It sticks with you. So when you go into that and I push start, this is level 4. Now notice here that on level 4, the numbers are moving and they're colored. See them spinning?
That's fun.
They're spinning. The numbers are spinning and turning, and that's a little higher thing. So I'm wasting time here. So I got to find 37, and what's going to happen is your brain gets in a process of looking for it. And while you're doing that, you're also finding 30 seconds. I'm going backwards. 38 is what I want. Then 39 and 40 and so on. So I'll just let it continue to go. But that whole process, when I had color and movement and stuff, that's the challenges the life gives you.
Right.
So like in the ring, if you're at level 4 and you're seeing movement and jerseys and banners and all these things go through your eyes, and you're trying to stay focused on certain things, that's what this game does.
Right. That's awesome.
Get you focused. So time to focus on iTunes. I don't have it for Android phones yet. Just haven't bothered
I
to
think
do
I
it.
got an iPhone.
Yeah, there you go. Give it a try. It's a great prep.
And what's it called?
Time to focus. Right, spell it out. Time to focus. Yeah, it's I can remember that. So we are once again. I remind you, we're talking here with Josh Cubby Bear Copeland. He's going to go for the $1 million prize at PFL. The playoffs are over. It's the $1 million championship in New York City at MSG, the Madison Square Gardens, on the 31st of December, 2018. Tune in on NBC Sports Network. We're going to be continuing to talk about it and sharing information about Josh's travels between now and December 31st. We'll get you details about the show broadcast, the times, and when it's going to be aired on NBC Sports Network. I'm hoping it's an afternoon live broadcast. I'm hoping. But we'll sure. Yeah. I'll get a hold of PFL and find out about that. We got about 5 minutes to the hour of noon. As you know, every Friday at 11 a.m. Mountain Standard Time, we are broadcasting our show, 360 Performance Talk, here at KUHSdenver.com. So grateful to everybody that joins us. And Henry Monk is a friend of yours.
Yeah.
I just hooked up with Henry today on Facebook.
He's a great guy.
Yeah, he was a source of a great video for me today. The Canadian goose taking on the cattle.
Really?
Yeah, it's Henry. Thank you so much. That was a great video. Resiliency, Henry. That's our topic today. So thank you so much for that reinforcement of what we're sharing here today with Josh. So Josh, in closing today, what are some things that you'd like to say to people that have been in your corner both physically and emotionally in coming into this next routine of training? What would you like to share with them about their being with you and sharing with you?
Well, to me, my head coach Ryan Schultz says it perfect. Every time after practice we break it down, he always finishes with, remember, nobody gets to the top by themselves, and it's the truth. And for me, it's just fun. Like people don't realize how much where I'm at today is. There's so many people that have poured into me for that, and I went and had lunch with one of my buddies, Brian Fairclough, and he was started out as one of my clients, and just we do sparring together, we do jiu-jitsu, grappling, whatever, and over the course of time, Brian and I wound up becoming good friends, and man, it was cool for me just sitting there at the table a couple days ago, just thanking him, just because a huge part of where I'm at is because of people like him. He's been there financially for me when I've needed medical bills and different stuff like that. He's been there as a friend, as a client, as everything, you know. And to me, it's cool because I didn't get here by myself, and there's so many great people that have been there, bringing me on air to get to know more people, you know. And, I mean, it's so much more than just the physical coaches teaching you how to throw a 1-2, you know, or how to take someone down. There's so many other people that have gotten me here. Man, I'm blessed that, I don't know, I'm blessed with people. Yeah. So I love people. It's fun to be a part. And like I always say, you know, when I win, everybody wins. It's life's not about me. And if I can help and give back and love on people, like that's what makes a difference.
Excellent. Well, and let me add to this from the hopefully objective perspective, even though I'm a bit biased after I've gotten to know Josh over the last year or so. It's real. I deal with a lot of athletes in different sports and at different levels, both professional and amateur. And I try to do a sincerity measure of genuineness and legitimacy of intent. And so I'm gonna say with Josh right here face to face, he's legit in what he says. It's not just words. It's not, you know, because a lot of times you can get on air and you got to say things because it's scripted, or you embellish something because it helps amp up the jam for promoting something or whatever. But what you say is legit. It's real. It's not something that's contrived. And that's, I think that's a difference between Josh and other athletes but the true champions, that's a measure of a true champion, and not just a champion. So that, as I say that, it's perfect timing because we end the hour on that note of kindness and respect and honoring others that have brought you to the place you're at. That's wonderful to hear. Please tune in, NBC Sports Channel, on December 31st to watch PFL championship fights for $1 million prizes. Josh is one of those against Felipe Lind for the heavyweight title for PFL 2018. It's so great to be here. I really enjoy the time I spend with Josh. So everybody out there, have a great, great day on the 26th of October. Trying to get in charge of my machines.
It's almost Halloween.
It's a scary time. And if you come to my house, you're going to see a face on the door like that to scare you. So have a great day today. This is Lowell Whiteman saying good afternoon and good day for 360 Performance Talk and KUHSdenver.com. Have a great day today, all right?